Thank you, Jake. Thank you so much. It's good to be here to see each one of you, actually. I'm going to talk to you about 3 major mistakes that almost every actor seems to make when it comes to their headshot. The number one thing that they make a mistake at is they don't go see the photographer ahead of time. And you're probably thinking to yourself, geez, I couldn't get to see the guy. Well, guess what? That's going to come out in the photo, too. You'll see. If you have to have, your photo has to pop. It obviously has to tell a story. Come on in, have a seat. And that's the number one thing. Most actors don't get to see the photographer ahead of time, and that really shows up in their photograph. Number 2, the other thing that most actors do is they base their decision on hiring a photographer by the price. And the price is never really going to get you where you want to be. Believe me, it just doesn't. Trust me, I've done that with equipment. I buy a cheaper piece of equipment. It never works. It really doesn't. The third thing that most actors make a big mistake on is they generally see a photograph that they think is wonderful that somebody did, and they think, oh, that's the person I'm going to go to and have a photograph taken by, which is great and wonderful, but when they get there, that person, it might not fit what they do. In other words, each one of you guys is an individual, and you have to have that in your shots. If you don't, trust me, I don't think anybody's ever going to see you. It's very important that you talk in your photograph. It's very, very important. I'm going to show you some shots right now. This is what the girl came in with. Mallory came in with, and this is what I shot. When Mallory first came into the studio, the first thing she said to me, I asked her, I said, what do you want to do? What is your goal? What do you really want to do? She said, because I'm only, and I think she was 19 or 18, 19, something like that. She said, I want to do Saturday morning TV shows. I think I fit that stuff. I said, great, so we'll shoot some Saturday morning stuff. She did exactly that, but she's done more than that. She just got cast into Glee off of this. She got out so many times because of the photographs that she became a better actor because she was throwing the auditions away. You were just talking about having an audition, you weren't sure about what the outcome was. You have to kind of divorce yourself from the audition immediately. As soon as you get out of the audition, go on to something else. Because if you don't, I guarantee you're going to be picking it up on the next one. The difference in the 2 shots, what I did with her, is that I had to lighten her up. As you can see, she kind of looks, her hair looks dark, everything kind of has a darkness to it. I had to lighten her up and to sell her onto TV shows. I know it sounds kind of dumb, but I work for TV stuff all the time, and you've got to be able to look like you belong in a television show very quickly. As you can see, her hair looks kind of drab, and you can't touch it enough. You can see her hair is a little lighter, and it's very touchable. It's lit that way, okay, to help her out. I know it sounds, like I said, kind of dumb. Here's something I'm going to show you right away. That this is the same girl. This is the first shot I took of her. She got 37 something, I don't know, calls. She said she got so many doggone calls. She got into the TV show Lost. And that's what I shot this for, okay? Then I shot her because she got into, we were putting her into Fast and the Furious 2. It's all the same girl. You can see she plays the rebel here versus the naive girl here. Versus very innocent and vulnerable, sexy kind of girl. She also is a singer, so I'm shooting her for her singing career too. And she also needs a hot body type shot. Here's her singing shot. It's the same girl again. I know it doesn't quite look like the same girl, but it is the same girl. And these were all shot within about, I'd say maybe 8 to 10 months. These shots where she kept coming back, I shot more, shot different ones. One thing that I think that actors make a mistake on is they think once I got a headshot, oh, it's all over, I'm ready to go, I'm out there. You want to constantly put new ones out there. Photographs are energy, they are literally energy. You have to throw shots out there. This is the same actor. These are the 2 shots I just took of this guy. What I'm shooting is a very cinematic kind of look to it. This kid just got into a call into a casting director off this because he plays that little bumbling kind of kid. And here he looks like the kid that's the rebel, you see. A totally different feel. This shot will never get these phone calls. This one will never get this one. That's why you need more than one shot. In fact, you'll never have enough of them. Photographs become the key. This guy here, because he has a good body, we wanted to get him to this boxing film. I knew there was a couple of things coming up real soon, so I wanted to make sure I got a shot of him to really show that he's got a great figure and that he could play that kind of role very quickly. Immediately, he's in the role. He's not trying to stand there to be an actor for a headshot. That's the other thing. I think most actors have a tendency to do that in their shots. They have a tendency to look too posed, you could say. Here's the same actress. This is what she came in with, and this is what I shot of this girl. She's very tall. She's about almost 6 foot. She's 5'10", 5'11", something like that. I want to make sure I showed that in her height in the shot a little bit. We needed something kind of corporate to get her into that kind of stuff too. This is the same makeup artist that did this. You can see, yeah, it's very harsh on her right there. And what I did is I made him lighten it up and change the whole thing so it became alive for her. Again, what I meant when I said earlier is everything is about an individual. You got to kind of sell you. To me, this photograph here is the epitome of a great theatrical headshot right here. The casting director that sent him by to me, in fact, almost every person you see in here is from a casting director. She said to me, she saw this photograph and she didn't want to see the actor. She told her assistant, the reason I don't is because the actor looks like he's a snob. He looks like he comes from a wealthy family, and I don't think it's acting. I think he's just a snob. The assistant said to him, guess what? The boy's outside and he's auditioning today. She said, oh God. So he comes in, he auditions. She says, the kid is great. She goes out, tells his mother, go get some great shots. I got a person you should go to. So she sends him over to me. This shot here, the difference in the two shots to me is in this shot here, you see that there's empathy in him. You feel for the kid. He's gone through some troubles now. Versus here, he just looks like a snob, you see. That's kind of the key to it right there. For every actor, I want to feel for you right away in the shot. If I don't, you're kind of dead in the water. It's kind of, this actor right here, in his situation, I thought they were sort of apologizing for his facial structure. He has great bone structure and his very unique face, which I wanted to show. Right after I shot him, this is what I meant by energy. When I photographed this guy, within 3 months, he called me up for, I don't know, a couple of months, but within 3 months, he had all these things happening. He got into Entourage on this one. He got into a Disney thing on this one. He got into what was it, House on this one. Again, different shots of the guy. It's just kind of describing a different role for him each time. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but we can answer some questions here in a second here. But I do think that you have to kind of tell a story fast in the shots. This girl, I just shot this girl from Advantage, Actors Advantage. This is the shot she had. This is the shot I did of her. I asked her, how did you get to this photographer? And she said her agent gave her the name. I said, who picked the photograph? She said her agent. If you look at the photograph, it's really sad, I think, because she looks like she's very unhappy. She looks like she's kind of in pain in a sense. This girl is very, very kind of a sexy kind of, she stands maybe 5'8", something like that. It's a very kind of cute look to her. I wanted to make sure that I can get her into TV stuff. She was having trouble getting into TV.
Check it out?
Yeah. I just did this, and I got a letter from her. She has, and the letter's in here, she's had several auditions for agents now and casting directors. It's because it makes her more inviting. This shot here, as someone said, I agree, she should have fired the agent immediately. But this is very common. I'm telling you, it's very common. I've been doing this for almost 29 years. Most agents are not good at picking this. They know it. That's why when you get an agent, if you just had photographs done, I guarantee you go to an agent and the agent says, go get more as soon as you get a new one. And people always ask, why do they do that? Because they know that it's the photograph. It's all about the photograph. If you don't get a call from the photograph, they're not doing any good. I mean, they can't get anything unless you get phone calls. So it's about phone calls. I know it sounds kind of funny, but you really are looking for phone calls. I'm going to show you stuff, what I'm shooting now. This is the stuff. Robert was just in here, wasn't he? Here's that letter from her. But here's Robert. I don't know if you guys saw him earlier.
Robert's in the class.
Yeah, he was in your class. And I just photographed this guy. Here's the same guy again. Totally different roles. This one will never get this role. This one will never get that role. You see? That's the whole idea. You want to kind of tell a story fast in the shot. I'm shooting them now more cinematic, as you can see. They have the person's already in the role, in the film or the TV show, whatever it is. And that's why I always try to ask people, what do you want to really do? Because you better show it in the shot. If you don't, you won't be getting called for it. Most of the time, actors, especially female actresses, and all the time I've been doing this, they usually pick their photographs by when they think their hair looks the best in the shot. That's been a statistic that I've looked at. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever the case may be, the more your hair is coiffed in the shot, I can guarantee you'll have less phone calls on it too. Because now I think you're a plastic actor. And I'm going to show you that. I just shot an actress who just went over to that thing you were talking about at Actors Advantage the other day, and just got in, if I can find, here it is. See how plastic she looks in the shot? She's a comedic actress. I gotta make her come alive in the shot. Here she just looked too stoned in the shot. I mean, she's just so plastered. she has a tendency to like everything retouched so heavily that there's nothing left of her. And she couldn't figure out what was the problem. I don't know if you guys know Orly Sidowitz, but this is the casting director that sent her by. Orly said, you've taken her to a totally different level. This girl is very talented, this woman is, but she had very poor shots. And she was really having trouble. Because all of her shots were like this, very plastic, very one-dimensional, I call them, in a sense. As you can see, she comes alive in the shot. That's the key to the shots. They have to come alive. People don't want people who are stiff and cardboard. It makes me think you're going to give me a plastic scene again, you know. Here's an actor that I shot. Obviously, he was using black and white before. This guy here, when I went to shoot him, I remember I helped him out with his clothes out of his car, and he had this hat in the back of his car, and I said, bring the hat in. He said, oh, no. He said, I just was back home. He comes from Tennessee. He said, my mom said gave me money actually to buy a new hat. I didn't buy a new hat. He said, and I feel kind of guilty. I said, let's take a shot for your mom with the hat. So I had him actually wear the hat, and I took some shots. And as soon as he took the hat off and put it in his arms, that was the shot, see? Because it grounded him back to where he comes from, Tennessee, and I wanted to kind of get that flavor about him right away. He got a ton of commercials off of this, because he's very real in the shot. That's basically what it's all about. Here he looks kind of a little distancing from people. As I said, this girl here, she's done so well so quickly. It's because she comes alive in it. As you can see, her head's up a little too much. Again, angles are very important in the shot. I know it sounds kind of dumb, but I am looking for the best angle of the person, but also telling the story of whatever it is that we're trying to get across. This gal here, she works a lot. She's a European actress. Here you can see that she plays the vixen in this shot. Here's more the girl next door. Here she's the well-to-do girl, looks like she comes from the East Coast. See, each time I'm trying to sell her in a little different way to describe it a little differently, to get in more often. It is a numbers game. I know most people don't want to hear that, but it really is a numbers game. You're trying to get out a lot of times. This actor here, unfortunately, he looked too made up. It was really killing him. I know it sounds kind of weird, but people immediately go, oh God, what's wrong with him? You know, there was an actress I just shot just recently. She was wearing contacts to make her color of her eyes real light, and she has brown eyes. It was the biggest mistake, because right away you think that, go ahead and have a seat, you guys. You just assume she doesn't feel comfortable about herself. And as soon as I feel like there's a little something distance, I guarantee they cut away from you right away. The curtains come down, they're automatically gone on to somebody else. You have to feel good about you. If you don't feel good about you, what the hell? They're not going to feel good about you. So that's why we took a shot very easy, comfortable. He wears glasses a lot, so we wanted to show that in the shot too. This girl here, when I shot this girl, I know this is going to sound weird, but I told her to cut her hair off. I used to work for a big-time agent out here. You guys wouldn't know him because he's passed away, but J. Michael Bloom was the best in the business at the time. I used to work with him all the time. He'd send people to me, and I'd have to recreate them. I'd cut their hair, dye their hair, color it, whatever it had to do to shoot the shots. He's the agent that handled Alec Baldwin and almost every major star you know right now. And he would just tell me do whatever I wanted to do. And that's exactly what I did with her. We cut her hair off. She's done so much more work because it defines her face more. Now she's not quite the normal actress. She's not. And one thing I've learned is if you play it safe in this business, I can guarantee nothing will happen. You have to kind of try something out for you, and it works for you. What works for you doesn't work for somebody else. So you have to always kind of, whatever works for you as an individual. That's very, very important. And most actors always try to play it safe. What does he have? Does he have a headshot? Okay, I got to get a headshot. You got to kind of make it more individual. Whatever it is that you want to play, you must say it in the shot. If you don't say it in the shot, I guarantee you don't get called for it. Here's a perfect example, I think, of how, unfortunately, sometimes an agent or somebody, this fella here, his manager sent him over to me, and he says to me, I want you to shoot some really clean-cut, smiley shots, WB stuff. So I'm shooting the guy, and here's the case, I didn't get to meet him ahead of time either, so I spent a lot of time to know him before I got to shoot him. And as I'm talking to him and everything, I realized this guy's a surfer. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I'm doing all these smiling shots and stuff, and I'm thinking, geez, these shots are boring to me. So I said to him, put on the shirt you first came in with. And I shot maybe 4 or 5 shots at the end of the photo session of this. And I remember calling his agent or his manager up and saying to him, I wouldn't use any of the shots except the last 4. And he's not smiling. And he said, what the hell are you talking about? He says, he'll never get a call on that. He got 3 pilots off of this. The agent didn't want to use the shot because you could see his reflection in the mirror behind him. This is how screwed up people will get. They get kind of focused on the wrong thing right away. This shot shows that he's physical. This guy's going to play physical kind of roles. That was immediately what I had to do. And I wanted to kind of get something to kind of grab their attention more. I know it sounds kind of weird again, but I got to get their attention. When I'm hired by an actor, I look at it as I'm their advertising agency. I'm not just your photographer. I have to advertise you to get people to want to meet you. That's the key. What I usually do is I'm working for people who do the buying, not the selling. The people that are buying are the casting directors, producers, people like that. The agents are worried to offend anybody, so they always want you to have kind of a neutered shot, what I call a neutered shot. It doesn't really say much, but I guarantee it doesn't do much. It just will not get enough phone calls. You've got to push the envelope a lot. And that was a perfect example there where the agent didn't want to use the shot, and I told his manager, try it out, use it. And he did. He got all these calls. The manager was so thankful. He sent over a basket of fruit and champagne and everything. But this guy, literally, his career started up after that. And now he's in production. Now he's producing films, because that's where he wanted to be all the time. Some people, want to go one way and is their actor, and then you want to start again directing, other kind of things. So it adds up to other things. I'm going to show you just one more, and we can go into some questions. Here's a really good example of an actress. When I meant by numbers game, this girl, I shoot her. These are all shot in the same day. This one here is more of that kind of, I would consider the college girl. Nice romantic girl from small town. Down and out girl. Disgruntled, maybe lesbian. She gets called in for a film of this shot. The next week, she got called in for the same film off of this shot. The casting director called me and said, congratulations, you got this girl out twice for the same film. That's what it's about. They remembered her so much she got this role. They were looking for a little younger girl for this, but she ends up with this role. She played this FBI girl. And that's what I mean by getting out a lot. Here this girl gets out, sees this casting director twice, sees the same people twice. Now she has a relationship. One of the things you have to do in this business is develop relationships. That's really what this business is about. That's how your work really kind of keeps going and going and going. So that can give you an example of something, just one girl there. And that was all shot in the same day, like I said, in that particular one. Here's a girl that I just shot who happens to be a wonderful singer, this girl. But she is getting into acting too. The girl comes from Canada, and I wanted to kind of show kind of a little wilderness kind of feel about her, because that's what she relates to. And that's the kind of stuff that she'll get more too. I know it sounds kind of dumb, but you'll see that you'll get called in exactly whatever it is that you say in the shot. And if you don't say it in the shot, you won't get called in. It's as simple as that, because they just don't have time. It's an unfortunate thing, but today it's even worse than it's ever been. People don't have much time at it. Now I think we're going to some question and answers. I hope that you guys have any questions at all?
So you shoot both natural light and studio stuff?
I don't shoot any studio anymore.
Okay. So
I have a huge studio, but I don't even shoot it anymore. And the reason is because I don't think it serves your purpose well. I'm looking for your purpose, what it is you want, and that's why I'm shooting people to fit right in the movie. They're in the movie already. Then I feel as though I got a call yesterday, I guess it was from Actors Advantage. All these guys were going over there to look for agents, and I think I had 4 agents call me about these shots. It's because they're already in the movie. They're already in the thing. They know they can get calls for it right away. Agents are looking for that all the time, I'm sorry, Jeff, what was your...
What was my question? Oh, it looked like some of the women lightened their hair. Was that just lighting, or did they actually...
It's a lot of lighting. A lot of lighting. Yeah, I can tell you situations where when they're not lit well, your hair will look dull. Like that one girl you saw, that it was dull because it's not lit well for her, and it doesn't tell a story. Yeah.
And the actual question I had is, how do you address the fact that most headshots are seen online? It's like a little thumbnail, and you pick them out that way. How do you make those sound?
Just like you see right here. That's going to pop when it gets up there. If you look at TV, for an example, here's a really good example. Look at television and close one eye. Look at TV with one eye, because that's actually how the camera's looking at stuff. And if you look at it, you'll see how it pops. And the reason it pops is because it's lit with tungsten type of lighting. It's lit in a situation to make it really pop. As you can see, this is natural light situation that he's under. It's not an artificial thing. In other words, I don't shoot them what you were asking about studio. I didn't shoot them with a strobe because a strobe, what it does is it floods the light all over the place, and I want to concentrate right in here, not all over the place. I want it to kind of tell the story with everything. So I don't shoot in the studio as much. I usually prefer shooting them out because I think it, like I said, I think it tells the story better for them. You don't want something that's stiff and cardboard in a studio. I don't want to feel like you're, you know, a cardboard scene. Anybody else have a question? I think, did I answer that, Jeff? Yeah.
The last headshots I got, I received a disc.
A disc, yeah. Right.
How many would you say, may differ per person, but how many shots are on one of those discs? If you
can fit about 100 on a disc.
Okay.
All you're needing is really maybe 3 or 4 really great shots. I mean, I don't like what I do. I love what I do. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do this. The whole payment to this, to me, is to seeing something happen for the actor. It really is. Bottom line. It's basic what it is. If you talk to most people who shoot headshots, they don't want to shoot headshots. They want to be shooting, you know, a celebrity in a whatever, cosmetic ads or something like that. I love doing this. There's more thrill in this than any of the other things. I've shot, as Jake knows, I met Jake because I used to shoot a lot of fashion. My studio is set up for that, and I shot a lot of big clients. But it's not as much fun. It just isn't. And now I'm at the stage in my life, it's got to be fun. It's got to be really, really fun to me. And so that's, yeah, Jeff? Did you have another question? Oh.
So what do you actually deliver to the actor? Do you do, I mean, obviously you take the shots. Do you do retouching yourself? Or
Yeah,
do you,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing everything.
And then the actor actually gets prints?
Yeah, what I'm doing today, the best way to do this today is what I do is I go through the shots right away. As I'm shooting, I'm looking for a certain thing right away in each outfit that they're shooting in. And so I go onto the computer and I'm going to select that shot right away. And in his case, I think in Robert's situation, I picked out 4 shots and said, these are the 4 to use. These are really the 4 to use. And that's what I'll do. I'll narrow it down right away. I think most people get very confused. And if you bring them into your agent like that with 100 or something like that, they'll never take the time to do that. They don't have that much time to kind of go through it. Most agents don't. They won't spend that kind of time. So you have to kind of really narrow it down sometimes for them.
Okay, so I think what was asking was how many photos do you take in a photo shoot?
Yeah, I had 1,600 taken
Yeah.
of me by my other one.
Right.
But she had her favorites. She had almost 300 of her favorites that
yeah.
I was left in a folder, and I had to look through them individually and find out of those 300, narrow it down to 405, like you
Yeah.
said, that I'm actually willing to print and send out.
Yeah.
So it was tedious for me. I really didn't
Yeah.
want to keep looking at headshots all day.
That's the point right there. An agent won't either. They're not going to do it. Neither is the casting director. Nobody else is going to do it. They're not going to invest that much time into you. They don't. They just don't. So you better come in with it, you know. Yeah, I pick it out right away. I'll pick out the shots. You know, tell you which ones I really think are going to get the calls. I know it sounds like I say it funny, but I'm looking for the phone call. I'm looking for the response, for somebody to give you a real nice response on the shot. So you really want to pick out of that 300, I guarantee there's maybe 3 or 4 that you should be using, probably, because all the rest of them are just repeats of the same thing, you know, most likely, you know. And
You were saying that working is a matter of relationships.
Yeah.
How would you suggest that these guys start and continue to make those relationships? Have them be good relationships, have them be supportive relationships, have them be long-term relationships?
yeah, for an example, I'm going to, right, when I leave here, I'm going to a studio to shoot some for this guy. He does a lot of television stuff. And you build relationships like this. You're going to try to get in the door. You're trying to get to meet a lot of people through your headshot. Once you do, then you're going to start building relationships with those people that you start working with. You'll find that as soon as you get a job, you'll see that you most likely will work for them again and again. That's kind of how it works a lot of times. And you're sort of building relationships. That's why you want to stay in touch with people. People say, well, I got my headshots done, you know, last year or something like that. You should have them done as often as you can. This guy, Robert here, I'm shooting him on Monday. Again, I just shot this 2 weeks ago at the most. And the reason is, I said to him as I was shooting him, he didn't bring something else that I thought, other kind of clothes that I thought would be really good for him. I think he needs a kind of a Wall Street shot. I think he needs to show that he thinks he plays bad guy all the time, which he does. But he needs to play bad guy in another way, too. He needs to play him in a casual way and stuff like that. So I got to kind of put him in that kind of frame, too. He's got to look that part. So I would suggest to have photographs taken a lot. But you want to have them done well. If they're not done well, I guarantee people are going to view that of you. They're going to think, if the shot looks poor quality, I think that of you. I don't think that of a photographer. I don't even know who the hell he is. But I'm going to think that of you. Because you're willing to accept that, and you think that of yourself. Yes.
Just to piggyback off that, I was actually at that showcase too on Thursday, and my partner and I go in the room, and they're asking me questions and stuff. The only thing they said to her is, "You need better pictures." That's the only thing they said to her the entire time. They asked me where I'm from, where my family's from, what ethnicity. They asked me, did I just move to LA? And the only thing they said to her is, "You need better pictures."
Yeah, photographs are literally the key. They will get you a better agent and everything.
So what happens to most actors who never get the winning shots like these? What happens to them?
Most of them, I mean, I've been doing this, like I said, for almost 30 years. I shoot actors as they're coming up the ladder, trying to get to the starring roles. I shoot them when they're a star, getting into magazines, and I shoot them as they're going down. This is a game. It literally is. And you're trying to get a publicity person. I work with publicity people all the time, and they're trying to get them back up the ladder again. So they hire a publicist. You know, I'm working for a publicist this afternoon, and they have you have to constantly kind of maneuver yourself around. Most of you obviously don't have publicists yet, but that's the next step. Most actors, if you ask them, hate having photographs taken. That's the reason that they usually don't have their career goes anywhere, because they postpone having photographs, and so they're falling behind constantly. Like an agent will say, "Go get new shots." You don't come in with shots for months and months later. They've totally forgot about it. They forgot about you too. You got to be instant. Do stuff very quickly. Move on. Your question again, Jake, did I answer that with the, how do they develop a
You were telling me, no, that basically they end up leaving the business.
They do. They leave the business.
They don't get the shots, it leads to the phone.
I've seen a lot of, here's one thing I have to say, in all the years I've been doing this, I've seen a lot of talented people going nowhere because they didn't know how to do the marketing part, to do that part of the business. And it is part of the business. It literally is. I know a lot of us don't want to do it, but it is a great deal of it. It's sometimes is more important than the actual art itself a lot of times because of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
last question.
Yeah.
So in terms of your process, do you know when you got the shot? Is it like, snap, okay, that was it, we can move on?
Yeah.
Or it's never like, you go back, oh, that one did work. It's more like in the moment.
Yeah, the thing I'm worried about is because I'm shooting digital today, shooting versus film. And digital, it's a very different ballgame because in a digital camera, you don't know if you have it. You have to check it because damn things do not function. It's at its infant stage, so it doesn't function as quickly as a film camera would. So I have to kind of check to make sure that the digital camera is recording it the way I want it to.
So you just keep shooting until you get that? Or?
Yeah, I'm directing these people. I'm directing them around, and they're not just around. Because if you do, you're just going to be looking like you're a cardboard. You know, I'm directing them to move them around, getting shots, and I'm kind of trying to figure out what's the best angle of them right away, trying to read them real quickly, what's going to work for them, what isn't going to work for them. There's all kinds of little things about everybody's face, and it's just trying to make it look perfect. I know it sounds dumb, but that was the problem there. You know. So
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. I want to applaud all of you for actually getting into acting. I'll tell you why, because I think it's one of the greatest professions there is, to be able to tell stories. I really do. I think it's probably the best thing I've ever run across. And I've shot a lot of people, shot scientists, everything. I've shot everything. But actors, it's interesting because you're telling stories to people, and that's what people will remember in their lives. They really will.